Right, good afternoon. Welcome along to the second set of Tech Talks for today. I hope you enjoyed, those that have been out in cars, hope you enjoyed that, or as much as you can do being flung around, and your lunch. My name's Gillen. I'm the Digital Transformation Solutions Consultant at Britannic, and it's a bit odd for me because normally I'm used to sitting there listening to what people's problems are and trying to solve it, and now what I'm trying to do is solve potential problems in a oneer. I've nothing but sticky. Do that, it's easier, old school. Yeah, there we go. Right. So, what is digital transformation? Digital transformation, DX, or DT, as you're going to see banded around in various different states, is the use of fast and frequently changing digital technology to solve problems. And problems is something that you'll probably hear reoccurring a lot throughout this conversation. And what are the benefits of doing it? The benefit, digitising processes and interactions can lower unit cost, can reduce process costs, increase revenue, and reduce risk. But to try and make this a bit more personal than the large talks downstairs, is trying to get you to kind of focus on thoughts from within your own business. So looking at kind of what stage are you at? Are you at the very start of thinking, yes, this is something we must do? Have you gone 3 or 4 steps in and thinking, well, hang on a minute, we're going down a few different corridors and alleyways. I'm not quite sure if this is the way you want to go. No pressure then, the boss has walked in. There we go. So the first one is really focus on the problem and creating the problem statement. We're going back to that word again. It's very hard to do, but actually that's what allows you to then kind of engage and really look at where you want it to go. As soon as you focus on the solution or the technology that you want to use to solve that, you isolate so many possibilities, and also you start to try and solve larger and larger scale problems rather than going, right, this is a problem statement for this, let's solve that, and then we can move on. And digital transformation, again, isn't about that large scale, this is my strategy, in one big step, that's what I'm going to implement. It's really going, right, here's a minimum viable product here, right, here's a problem statement for this area, and doing kind of a modular approach. And that's what allows you to kind of be agile and react to any problems that you might have. And then kind of as part of that process, it's looking at those levers. Now, kind of, is it business growth? Well, everyone wants business growth, but is it scaling your business? Is it cross-sale, upsale? Is it driving your business forward? So there's value within these value levers. Is it your customer experience? And then within that, is it how they engage with you? Personalisation, self-serve, enabling 24/7 communication. Is that your problem? Is it about reducing costs? But is the reducing cost kind of growing your reach, but without actually increasing the cost to get to that reach? Is it driving process efficiency? And is it getting data to the right eyes at the right time that is the data that they need? Or is it employee engagement? Are you freeing time up for them to manage cases, to actually do what you employed them to do, which is use their brain and use the skills that are written down on their CV, rather than going, right, I'm taking this bit of data here and I'm copying it and I'm putting it in this platform here? Because no one really employs anyone no one on their CV says, my skill is taking data from one place and copying it and putting it somewhere else. So start to kind of use that. 80 to 90% of inbound interactions are individuals seeking information that's probably already on your website or available with a Google search. And so kind of that is what your value levers are aiming to start to reduce. And you saw this slide earlier. Now, there's no one size fits all for anyone. And actually, it may be that if you go down the automation route, at some point down there, you're going to need to bring it back because someone's getting frustrated with it, there's the sentiment that's going on isn't working, or you're not solving their problem. So this potentially should be an infinite loop because actually it's all kind of integrated with each other. You might start off down here because that collects you the transactional data that you want. And that then enables the personalisation to come in because someone isn't sitting there going, name, thanks, address, thanks, because that data's already in front of them. And in fact, they pulled up their record and they can say, oh, hi, so-and-so. Really great that kind of following up from the conversation we had here, or how was your holiday when it went there, or did you enjoy that product? The personalisation is there, but you've gone through that automation route to make it almost more personable. So by automating, it increases time for your employees to be able to deal with. Jonathan mentioned earlier, actually, although call volumes have gone down, call times have gone up. And that's more and more because you want to give that time. So actually, it's not about when are my bins being collected. It's I'm having this real issue. Fine. And actually, I'm now on the phone for half an hour, 3/4 an hour. That doesn't matter. But it's resolving that issue that the person has first time, if possible. And suddenly, you've cleared the space for that to be able to happen because your agents aren't thinking, oh, right, I need to move on. I need to move on because I'm behind on this, or this is there, or I can see on a screen we're behind on our calls. So these are the areas to really kind of have a think about. And these are so there are three kind of big stages to really look at. So the first one, you've got customer engagement or contacting the masses. Kind of, in a way, how do you contact your customers? Are you able to communicate with them in the media that they want? Are they able to communicate with you easily without necessarily having to call? And remember, opening up new channels of this engagement doesn't necessarily reassign any interactions that are coming in. It opens up your organisation to a new audience and a new demographic. So the thoughts on this are, how easy is it to scale up without growing your contact or marketing teams? And by transforming at this kind of customer engagement level, you can kind of take all your interactions into one place, so you can report on them, and you can kind of, that data is there where you need it to be. And then you've got customer systems of record, or get data to where it needs to go efficiently. It's almost as simple as that. And this is where you have most scope for improvement through digital transformation, because that is where a lot of menial and double keying tasks take place. Because quite often it will come in on one route and you'll see it and you'll go, right, so-and-so's done me on Facebook, right, I need to now put that record onto the CRM that we hold. So you're not adding value to it, you're just transferring data from one place to another. And this is where a number of kind of smart solutions are there that can actually really, really make a massive impact in this area. If you take, for example, take a call or a web chat that comes in that's normally 5 minutes long. If at the beginning of that, you've collected the name, you've collected their address, any kind of identification that you need, and then that is passed through to an agent. If your call is normally 5 minutes long and that first minute is saved, that's 20%. If you can do 20% per interaction, kind of, it's amazing the productivity that is enabled to increase is phenomenal. And then you've got back office. It was mentioned down below, kind of in the conference there, and I mentioned it again. Do you really need a CRM? In this day and age, when things are moving and progressing and kind of new technology is coming out, new ways of communication is coming in, if anyone kind of has been involved, as I have in implementing CRM, it's about 12 months of planning, it's at least 12 months to put it in, it's then at least 12 months for people to kind of actually start to use it, and then you've still got probably, well, downstairs they said 70%, maybe it's 40% of it that you're not actually using because it doesn't add any value to your business. What you can do now, there are wrappers you can use, systems that you've already got. Get the best out of the system that you've already got by managing to extract and take that data out of those systems. And this is where small startups are really able to have that impact in a business. And this is why the larger organisations are kind of, it's opening up and becoming the topic of the moment, is because actually you need to be the tugboat and not the tanker. Basically, you need to be able to move the data to where you want it to go and not be trying to turn and move over a course of kind of 6, 12, 9, 18 months. And with this, what you're then able to do is look at changing the effort of where it is. So the top one there, manufacturer, that is the traditional approach. Someone rings you up, you take down all their details, what their problem is, and then everything is internally in what you have to go and solve and resolve. So it's costly and it's hard to scale. And then you've got the middle one, which is the sales agent. And there it's good because potentially they've got good product knowledge, but you're still reliant on them passing you through the correct data. And also your market reach isn't going to grow at the speed that you want it to. It's going to grow at the speed that they can grow. And then you've got kind of, in digital transformation, it's probably where you're going towards utopia, which is where it's customer-led. So they are giving you the information that you need and potentially solving most of their own problem before it gets to you, and you're kind of putting the wrapper on that solution and handing it back to them. And this I think, is the real key element. It can take time to implement this, because you need to make sure that the journey is correct and that actually it's being resolved. And this is why you look at it in that modular approach. Let's take one aspect here and then the next one. And suddenly you move from this kind of traditional approach and you've come through to this customer-led approach. So taking all this, kind of to try and give you an example of kind of where that change can be made. So this is service provision. So again, customer talks to a dealer. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be customer comes straight to customer service. So what's customer service doing? They're logging it on a CRM. Potentially that CRM doesn't talk to any other format, so they're also taking that information and putting it on something else. They're making a decision whether is it in warranty or out. Well, actually, systems know that because it's a transactional approach. It's either in warranty or it's out. And then they're then kind of doing all the transformation. There's no real value added there. They're not doing anything, but it's time, and it's quite a lot of time. So then, if you actually look at it and look at the different you look at the as-is process, and then you think, well, hang on, how can we look at the patterns there? How can we look at the workflows? How can we look at where systems can talk to each other and where we can make that data flow? So you can make that decision straight away. Is it in warranty or not? Well, if it is, then why does an agent need to see it? It can just be passed straight through to the other department that needs to see it. If it isn't, they've now got time to actually look at it and make a decision. And so, kind of to reconfirm that, there we go. So the as-is process, we have, I'll get my little pointery thing, completely taken away the need for an agent. It's not saying get rid of your agents, it's saying actually you've given them time to do their job. They're not saying yes or no, copy and paste. They're now able to go, oh, do you know what, that's just out of warranty, but I think that is our fault. So we're going to go back and say, it is out of warranty, but we're going to take that on, please send it in, and we're going to move forward. Great customer experience. What happens then? They come back and buy from you again. So then, kind of how? Now, we have a number of tools that we can do. Smart automation, it's just basically connecting your systems. It's looking at the journey of the data, connecting systems up, so in theory you input it once. And then that data can be taken and spread out and different kind of logic can be applied to it. Smart inbox. Bring everything together. Email, social media, reviews, repairs, tickets. Have one view, but then within that one view, give people a focused view of what they need to do. So you can then look at the different levels. Okay, this department, it's all coming into one place, because then you can do your SLAs, then you can do your reporting and your analysis, and why is it coming in? Kind of, actually, is there a way, are we not giving that information out? Because it's all there. At the moment, you might have an email, and then you might have your social media done by marketing, you might have something else. You don't know, are they responding in a timely manner? Are they responding in a way that you would like them to? None of this data is kind of collatable very easily. Smart inbox, all in one place. Smart forms. This I like this bit. These are the ones that I like. This is the way you capture the data. And you can capture the data, and then you can integrate that data. As long as there's an API or it's JSON, you can integrate that data into wherever you want to go. And if it hasn't got that, what you can then do is look at wrappers that you can put around it so that people are seeing the data and the flow and the updates in real time, and then that can be fed in at a later stage. Chatbots, and I'll give you an example of one in a way. Again, it's another way of collecting that data early, getting the transactional interactions, feeling personal, but the transactional data is done. And then either, again, the automation is done. I would say, though, if you do have a chatbot, always send an email afterwards, because it's amazing how many people go, oh, I just spoke to your chatbot, and I'm not quite sure whether they understood what I wanted or whether it's being actioned. So you've kind of nullified it. If that goes through and then they get an email back saying, great, thanks for your interaction, someone will be back in contact with you in the next 3 days. So it's still personal, but you've taken that away and out, and that transactional approach out of the contact centre. Gamification. This is a lot about your employee engagement, but it's all about kind of showing that if you make an improvement, so a lot of gamification or rewards within a workplace are all about that top 10%. Oh, so-and-so's great. Every month he gets the top sales target. Every month he answers the most phone calls. Every month she does this. But actually, to really improve your business, kind of what's happening to the bottom 10%? And here you can start to look at it. Gamification, I reckon, adds 20% to the output of an individual because they can see their effect that they're having. But also, if you do it on potentially improvement, if your bottom person improves by 10% and you reward them because they've improved by 10%, your baseline is then 10% better than it was. And so suddenly you're improving. And when you were rewarding just that top 10%, suddenly that's all of your staff in there because you've given them the confidence and the uplift and you've engaged with them and they haven't thought, oh, I've got a cough, I'm not going to come in today. They've thought, oh, I need to go in because actually I've got a chance to do X, Y, Z and I'm really enthused. And they're enthused, they're happy, which means that when they talk to a customer, you naturally relay that. And the wallboard kind of can almost bring all of this information together. So anything that has kind of gives an output through an API or a JSON, you can display. Again, show the impact that your kind of staff and employees are having on your business. And that might be call rates, but it might be attendance. It might be engineers that are going out and solving their issues and actually reporting back. Or you might be wanting to join up kind of people who are working from home. They can still see the impact that they are having because it's visible to them. So it's about getting that visibility and getting kind of people to be able to see what they can do. So, now comes the daring bit. What I'm going to try and do is a live demo. So this morning it went okay, which means probably this afternoon something isn't going to go all right. So taking what we're saying here. So here we've got a chatbot. So I'm going to put my name in and then... So this is straight away taking details that does not need to go through to a contact centre because now it's held. So if you want to contact me, that's my email address, by the way. So we go down. The other useful thing about these is that quite often, if someone phones up, they might have multiple issues. They might say, oh, this, and this. And you go, okay, fine. And you solve issue number 3. And they go, but hang on, that's not the one I wanted solving. So you're never going to win because you're always solving the one that isn't necessarily as important to them as it could be. Whereas when you start to kind of narrow their vision, they will put in what their most important problem is, which means you solve it, which means you then kind of up their experience, and they might come back and say, I've also got this problem, but you've managed to solve it in the order that they want it solved, not, right, they've given us 7, that one's the easy one, we'll get that one fixed, but actually that's not the relevant one, it's this one over here. So, another little key, always have the dots, because then it feels personal. If there's an answer straight away, people think, oh, they're not actually listening to me. So again, it's giving that personalised impression while automating something. So I'm just going to go through. So again, I've chosen that I need a repair. It's a new one. And this is all details that would normally, if they phoned in, have to be taken on the phone. See, it's reaffirming. Have I put in the right details? Is this actually me? Yes, it is. It also helps. So my name badge, and it quite often happens, I'm Gillen, quite often get called Gillian. So, because people naturally put an extra I in. Whereas if you've allowed that system to take the data that I put in to produce what you want to, that mistake isn't going to happen. Whereas people that naturally will look at it and type in what they think that they should type in. And that's where the human error aspect comes in. So again, that's my Britannic number. Again, if anyone needs or would like to talk about this further. You can make sure that you're getting the right details. So by doing that, that could send off to a lookup to say, oh, actually, Gillen, that isn't your housing reference number because we've taken your name and your mobile phone number and it's not. Or you might set it as, oh, actually, it has to be numeric or it has to be letters and it has to be 9 characters long. So you can really start to kind of improve their journey by making sure you're getting the right data. So then we've got a choice. Again, you can look at the priority, and this is all aspects that you can configure to the choice that you want to make. So I'm going to say gas, because then that leads us nicely onto a smart form. So, and again, it's taken my details through, so it's already taken my name, it's taken my phone number and my tenancy number through. So again, I'm not having to repeat myself. How often do you go through to Sky tend to be a terrible one. You go through, you've waited for 4 hours to get through to them, and then they re-ask you what your name is and what your phone number is. Well, actually, you've already got that. You've given that to your agent straight away. I'm going to say, I can smell gas. So I then send that through. There we go. That's gone through. But on another side of the business, someone's trying to contact you through social media. So I'm going, oh, hang on, okay. I would like a new kit. I need a football. There we go. So I'm going to send that through. So you've got multiple different ways of communicating with you, but then how do you see it? So we've taken a Mitel example. And as you can see, so straight away, so my Facebook Messenger has come through. So we're all here. So if I go to the inbox, you've got multiple different ways of communicating coming in to the one place. And there are 2 ways of doing it. You can either do it through your Ignite or your Enviro if you've got it, or you can do it through a smart inbox that we've got. So there are a number of ways of doing it, and it's, again, it comes down to what is your problem that you are trying to solve. Not this is how you solve it, or I think we should do this. What is the problem that you are trying to solve? So it's there, it's in. So the smart forms come through, it's done everything, and then as an agent I can go, right, first steps first, they can smell gas. Well, if I click on that and send it through and have set it up, that could be straight to a call, right, emergency gas service, you need to go out to here, they can smell gas in their kitchen. But at the same time, doing that, I also want to make sure it updates the CRM. So you're then, in 2 clicks, suddenly, I'm not having to take the information out of that and put it into the CRM or put it into whichever record you do. I've made an immediate action, I've called it, and if I call back the tenant through it, again, you can set it up. So 1 click, straight through to the agent, they're utilising the number that's been put in by the individual, and you can go through that. So you're enabling that re-communication or that further communication to happen, it's clicks of a button. It could be that if you set this up, I can smell gas. If you've got smell gas as your keyword, that phone call or that message is straight away passed through to the emergency service. You get a record coming through, but you don't want to touch it because you're slowing the process down to getting someone out. But again, it comes down to what problem are you looking to solve? And with this, I can also, there might go, this one here, I can then reply back in the media that they've come in. And this is the key one now. It used to be, someone would come in, I'm going to tweet in, okay, I've got an email back. Well, hang on, that's not how I like to be communicated with. I use Twitter or I use Facebook. That's how I want to be communicated with. So I can then go back Let's hope this works. Which type? Send. And this should, there we go. So it's come through. So you're having that kind of instant message going through, but someone within your team, they might be talking to, you can split it out how you want them to communicate. And also, because it's all in one place, you can then report back on it. So you can then go, well, hang on a minute, so-and-so can come up with some fantastic responses in 150 characters. Right, they should be more about the tweet, or actually, they're really good at coming back. Whereas so-and-so is really good on the phone. And you can start to kind of support your agent in becoming better at what they're doing, because you've got the analysis there, you've got the report all in one thing. You can put the SLAs, you can start to escalate. So you are improving your business all the time in incremental things. David Brailsford worked out that if you go into a corner 1% faster, you come out 3% faster, because you're taking that momentum in. So it's that if you can make a decision, or you can have visuals of that data, you are able then to increase the pace in which your organisation can improve. So, the other thing that you tend to get is that, all this is great. Well, hang on, there's a 15, 20, 30 grand bill for your system to talk to my system. We're already pre-integrated with some of these. We've already got integrations. It's low code, no code. People are moving away now from, I've got this great system, but actually it's going to cost you to enable me to talk to it. We're there already. The whole idea is that you're getting these in, you're putting them in, and kind of, I was talking to someone out there, suddenly they're like, could you do this by Christmas? Well, absolutely, we could solve your problem by Christmas. In fact, we could probably solve it by the first week of December, if the commercials are sorted out, because that is how we can do. You get the problem statement, we give you a kind of look at that, look at how that can be solved, and then we implement. And we're talking to so many platforms already. And does it work? It does. So it dropped it by 95%. 95% is a phenomenal number. It's not kind of 2 or 3% saving here. It's 95%. Kind of that's and now they're looking to open it up. It opens up 24. It opens up the ability for 24/7. So again, the customer experience. If I want to know when my bins are going to be collected at 3 o'clock in the morning, I am able to do that, and I don't wake up at 8 o'clock a bit grumpy because I haven't been able to find out, and I'll ring someone up and ask them the question that I could have found out. So their experience is better. So suddenly they're slightly more engaged with you. And again, with a construction company, we automated, this is in less than a year, kind of 25,000 plus transactions have been automated. So the return is good. It's not kind of, again, you might be making small changes, but if you start to add those small changes up, they become far more than the sum of their parts, because you're enabling people to add value. And as soon as someone can add value and have ownership, that's when those small changes can make a massive impact. And some thoughts to take away with. The biggest one, look at the problem. It's a real shift in mindset. It's like if you look at tenders, and still you look at tenders, it's always, this is the solution that we want. And you're like, okay then. So basically it comes down to, can I deliver that solution cheaper than someone else? And actually what you need to be looking at is, this is the problem that we have. I don't want a solution that probably solves it, but then I've got 2/3 of it is wasted code because I don't use it, and it's got no relevance to the problem I'm trying to solve. Incremental implementation. I shouldn't have put two I's together. There we go. That's what it is. It is taking those steps. It's taking your kind of your business, the culture within your business, the people within your business, and the growth of your business in those steps, because you start adding them together and you start to build that impact. And what are your key value levers? Because, again, you don't have to solve all of those value levers at the same time. It's about going, well, do you know what? They moan about this project. They moan about doing it. Every month we ask our staff to report back on it, and it always moans, and we're always chasing. Well, potentially there's a problem with, one, why do you need it? Two, does it take them time to do a low-value task, and it's time they don't really want to do? Have a look at that. Suddenly, that's your employee engagement and your data input solved. Is it about how customers can communicate with you? Is it about how you see the data? There's all those different aspects and all those levers that you can then start to kind of configure into nice kind of thoughts of how to solve and how to take you on that journey. And you might think, we're here now, in 18 months we would like to be here, but I'm not thinking about what the here looks like necessarily. I'm going, right, the first stage is, I had a conversation with someone outside again, first stage, we just need to do this, and we need to do it quite quickly. Okay, let's get that done. They want to do all of this other stuff over here, but it's bringing it back to go, well, let's do this, and then we've done that, and we go, does it work? Yes. How's the impact? Yes. Can you report back to the senior management and say it's working really well? Can I have some more budget? Yes, you can. See, and it continues that flow, and suddenly you're actually kind of, the growth has far outstripped what you're spending and the time that you've spent on it. And how do you want your business to grow, or your interactions to grow, or how is your transformation strategy really looking again at the problems that you have and trying to solve them? And I'll leave you with those. Has anyone got any questions? Yep.
I'm curious to know, I think we loosely refer to AI without really understanding what AI can deliver. But are you using AI and machine learning actively in any of those kind of stages that you highlighted in one of your slides?
And yes and no is the answer to that. Some of it comes back to, is it needed? Is there a reasoning for it? Or is it just enabling the transfer of data to happen smoothly? And so there's the chatbot, you can add more and more AI into the chatbots and the kind of the AI bots that you can put on your website. Yes, you can do that. But at this stage of where AI is, it can either, one, become very expensive very quickly, and unless you've got a massive amount of data going through. So Google can do it when you type in Google, kind of, I want to look at this, I want to look at that, because they've got millions and trillions of parts of data going through. But then, kind of, if you take that out and just try and put it onto your website, unless you've got an extraordinary amount of traffic going through, AI isn't necessarily going to be able to cope with the slow learning because it needs data to learn. So it's quite a complex one, and it's not, at this time where it is, it's not always needed. Yep.
The validation questions that you're going through with the chatbot.
Yes.
Have you ever worked on those with voice recognition whilst you're in the call queue?
You can do some of, yes, some of those can be done. It can be done, and then can go into the smart form, because the next idea is again, kind of most searches I reckon soon will be through smart speakers. So it's then taking that data and being able to kind of fill that into the forms to make sure that kind of you're enabling that data flow to be smooth, because that's their choice of communication. And we're starting. There's a hotel chain we're working with, and it's what's on your menu tonight, and it can go back with the menu, and they say, oh, I'd like fish and chips. Fine, fish and chips. Yes, we can do that for you. The allergies attached to fish and chips are gluten and fish. So yes, you can start to build those in, so you're able to answer those questions.
I kind of like the idea of the chatbots, and I've seen it be demonstrated before, and it's great for static information. Is anyone using this kind of technology to sell, to actually take the customer through the journey, and are they up for it? You know, are they accepting it?
It's again, it kind of it depends on which part of that journey, in a way, because you can. I'm trying to think if anyone that we are currently dealing with is using it. I don't think necessarily to, do you want this? Yes, I do. It can help people with their decision, like, kind of, where can I find this? How can I do it? Do you have this in stock? And you can take them through, again, those transactional approach to, yeah, here you go, there's 5 different pairs of trousers to look at and choose from, or these holidays might suit you. But some of those are quite nuancy, and you have to be quite careful about how much nuance you want to put in, because what you don't want to do is annoy someone so they go, it's not doing what I want, and move on to the next page. So again, it comes back to the problem that you are trying to solve, and then looking at, that may not be the best solution. A smartphone may be a better solution because it can go and look back in a knowledge base and come back, actually, because you've got more data collaborated in there, it can bring back more data and maybe point people in the right direction.